So with the awarding of the 2024 Ballon d'Or just around the corner, with it being all but confirmed on who's going to be crowned, and with this year's winner being someone who actually deserves it for a change, let's take a look back and remind ourselves that this certainly wasn't always the case, as today we will be ranking every single Ballon d'Or runner-up since 2004. And for those who've watched my ranking of every single Ballon d'Or winner, the criteria here is basically identical. Why wouldn't it be? So yeah, read it, familiarize yourself with it. Remember, I'm judging by season and not calendar year, and try not to leave stupid comments after doing so. I'm sure that won't be very hard for you to do. It'll be impossible. Let's roll on. Number 20, Lionel Messi, 2008. Yup. Not even trolling. Like, yes, obviously it's all relative, and needless to say, most footballers can only dream of having a season Messi did in 07-08. But with respect to this list, well, he finished the season empty-handed, disappeared in most of the big games bar the away tie versus United, hadn't quite yet built the chemistry with new arrival Thierry Henry, and when you have all those factors working against you, you can only rank high if you have crazy statistics. And again, while most footballers can only dream of bagging 16 goals and 13 assists in 40 games for Barcelona, for the level of a Ballon d'Or runner-up forward player, it doesn't exactly take your breath away per se. Number 19, Andres Iniesta, 2010. So to my recollection, Andres Iniesta has made the Ballon d'Or podium on 2 different occasions, and well, this is a testament to how inaccurate these awards are in my opinion, because neither of those 2 seasons were particularly strong for his standards. Like bro, this is arguably the best ball playing midfielder of his generation. He's done better multiple times. So why did he make it on those particular seasons? Because he won the World Cup and the Euros. Come on, man. Isn't this supposed to be judged over almost a year? Like, please don't get me wrong. Winning the World Cup while scoring the winning goal in extra time against a watertight kung fu kicking defense isn't a joke. But for me, it can only carry so much weight. And for me, in this instance, it carried a little too much. 18, Sadio Mane, 2022. Another top class player with a podium finish in a season that was far from his strongest due to triumph in an international tournament. Hope you're still with me. And this is the kind of logic that I'll never understand. Cause sorry, but Sadio Mane wasn't even the best player in his own team that season. It was this guy. Yet, he apparently clears Salah because his team won a penalty shootout against him. Once again, I swear this is supposed to be judged over a year. And disclaimer, Mane was one of my favourite players in the Premier League when he was here, and as I said, he's had significantly better seasons where he perhaps deserved higher finishes than he was given, but in 21-22, for me he was fortunate to make it anywhere near second. Number 17, Cristiano Ronaldo, 2009. Looks like no one's safe from low rankings today. It still actually makes me laugh when I hear people misremember Ronnie's record-breaking 42-goal season as his last from his first spell at Manchester United. Cause well, that wasn't his last season. This was, which again, despite ranking low in this list of elite ballers, may I remind you wasn't bad by any means. I mean, not only did he bag 26 goals and 9 assists, he also won 2 trophies while making another final, decided some big games along the way, and missed the Premier League Golden Boot by a single goal despite, yes kids, not even being a striker. I can't believe people think this is a lie. But yeah, on the topic of goal scoring midfielders, number 16, Frank Lampard, 2005. So Frank Lampard in 04-05 banged in 19 goals, turned up in pretty much every big game, including the one where he won Chelsea their first title in 50 odd years by scoring a brace against Bolton, while also bagging the Carling Cup along the way. Spectacular. Anyways, since I'm not really sure when I'm going to speak about him next, I want to address something real quick. So even though I do love and use them on the regs, man, I gotta be honest, comparisons can be such a bitch sometimes. Literally any player who gets heavily compared to someone else throughout his career usually suffers from some of his attributes being minimized in the public's perception due to them being inferior to the player they're being compared to. And while I have made an entire video on this topic as far as Messi and Ronaldo go, check it out, these guys for sure weren't the only ones who suffer from this. Cause you see, because he wasn't as active and intense as his England teammate and career rival Steven Gerrard, there are people who think Super Frank couldn't do much outside of scoring goals. You have no idea how false that is. You see, goals are actually what separated him from his competitors, because even outside that, believe me, Lamps could play. Don't forget, he was a midfielder for Jose Mourinho. Bro, you ain't getting picked to play in the middle for Mourinho without willing to put in the work, have something special about you, and be able to play. Don't believe me? Well, just ask. Number 15, Deco, 2004. A similar season to Frank Lampard in 2005, playing under the same manager as Frank Lampard in 2005, and although he was nowhere near as prolific as Frank Lampard in 2005, he was a lot more successful than Frank Lampard in 2005. Like, this is about the third or fourth video I'm going to talk about this, but not only did Deco win a league and European double with Porto, not only was he 16 minutes away from completing an incredible treble, but he then also played in every game at Euro 2004 where Portugal made it to the final. And that makes you think, if it wasn't for such small margins, we could have very well been talking about one of the greatest collective seasons by an individual in the entirety of the 2000s. But even as it happened, it was still pretty special. Number 14, Lionel Messi, 2014. Collectively failed, big game influences bar the one Clasico mainly non-existent, and struggle with hamstrings on and off. Yet, why does this Messi season rank above Deco and Lamps? Well, unlike 07-08, his stats in 13-14 were in fact good enough to somewhat negate his lack of success. Cause while 41 goals and 14 assists was considered low output for early 2010s Messi, it is still higher than 99.9% of footballers at the top level will ever achieve in their lives. Also, he did do bits in the World Cup group stages as well as reach the final, let's not forget. Number 13, Lionel Messi, 2016. Another below par 41 goal season for Messi. Can't believe he never had his pro license revoked around this time. Disgraceful this. But yeah, while he did put up similar numbers while suffering with injuries once again, what takes this Messi season above 13-14 is that 1. He actually won the double with Barca here, and 2. He was actually world class in the entirety of the summer tournament this time, bar basically one crucial moment. The summer tournament being the Copa America, of course. The one moment being the penalty miss in the final, of course. Number 12, Gianluigi Buffon, 2006. Pretty much the same thing I said about the winner of the Ballon d'Or from that year, which happened to be Gigi's teammate for club and country that year. Cause much like his courageous but casual and calculated club colleague and country captain with the Kojak Cup Cannavaro, Gigi Buffon in 05-06 was part of the best defense in the most defensively solid league in the world, which he won, well, won until this happened, and he then transferred that form onto the international stage that summer as Italy won the World Cup while conceding only one goal from open play, which itself was an own goal. Madness. Number 11, Cristiano Ronaldo, 2011. An amazing campaign that's forgotten simply because Messi was better. And yes, there's no denying that Messi was better, but that does not mean we should sleep on just how incredible CR7 was in 10-11. With Jose Mourinho coming into the mix, Ronnie was essentially crowned as the king of the dressing room almost instantly, and surprise surprise, he thrived under that sort of attention, becoming the first ever player in La Liga to pass 40 goals in a season, mainly from the wing, then moving to central to dunk on Barca and win the Copa del Rey, and then moving back out wide to also finish the season on a high. Super underrated. 10, Lionel Messi, 2017. Super underrated season this from Leo. I mean, yes, the stats obviously speak for themselves, but the fact that he destroyed Zizou's Real with this makeover, destroyed Pep City with this haircut, and was actually tearing it up in the UCL group stages where he was close to setting a record at one point, this was world level stuff at the bare minimum. Unfortunately though, a lack of real collective success as well as him disappearing in a couple of crucial big games does prevent him from placing any higher. Number 9, Jude Bellingham, 2024. Look, I needed 20 entries for this list, okay? And yes, for full disclosure, I don't know who will rank second this year, but I do know who I think should. And this is kinda getting lost in the files because of 40-year-old melts with midlife crisis telling you dumb kids about how he's overrated, but let's not forget, Jude Bellingham's first season with Real Madrid wasn't just world class, it was also flipping revolutionary. 23 goals and 13 assists in his first campaign abroad, turned up clutch in big games including both Classicos, did his fair share of defensive work back when called upon, won both La Liga and UCL, and then went on to reach the Euro 2024 final with England, having a very strong individual tournament while doing so. Man, this stuff really shouldn't be slept on. In fact, you can make an argument for him winning this entire thing, though sadly I'm led to believe that it's almost carved in stone that he's set to lose it to his Real Madrid teammate. And speaking of players losing a deserved Ballon d'Or to their Real Madrid teammate, number 8, Cristiano Ronaldo 2018. Alright, look, that was just one of my desperate attempts at a transition. I'm not actually saying for definite Jude deserves this year's award over Vinny, I'm just saying there's a case for it. When it comes to 2018, however, I'm not saying there's a case for Ronaldo deserving it over Luka Modric. I'm saying he did deserve it. And yeah, it's easy to just point at his bicycle kick against Juventus or hat-trick against Spain and say, see, he's good at football. But you see, because this was one of the three-peat years, most people forget that Real Madrid in the beginning of that season were heavily struggling to find form. It was only when Ronaldo at the turn of the year turned in one of the most prolific runs of his career that these guys were able to recover their campaign and to be overlooked despite that sort of mammoth impact in an underperforming side. Robbery for me. Number 7, CR7 2007. Okay, so despite A, what I said in Ronaldo's 2009 entry, and B, yes, while it's still true that he wasn't a striker in 09 bar a handful of games, he still did have a lot more defensive freedom than Premier League wide players usually did back then. Ronaldo in 07, however, not so much. This was possibly the greatest season from a traditional English wide midfielder there's ever been. He had responsibilities tracking back, he had bigger responsibilities going forward, and he fulfilled them both and more, destroying teams, embarrassing players, deciding games, and collecting a Premier League medal for all his troubles. Number 6, Lionel Messi 2013. Okay, so because he struggled with muscle problems on occasion, disappeared in most big games, and much like the case with 10-11 but the other way around this time, Ronaldo was just better when considering context, Messi 2013 is also often slept on. Because if you assess it objectively, despite the factors I've just stated, Leo still had a crazy 12-13. I mean, statistically, he was ahead of everyone including CR7, not to mention helping Barca equal Real's 100 points tally from the previous season. Boy, you need to be a special kind of player to do all that and still be largely forgotten. Damn. Number 5, Robert Lewandowski 2021. He may have been better in 2020, but he was still the best in 2021. And honestly, the fact that Robert Lewandowski was overlooked for the award that year despite being as impeccable as possible for a modern day centre forward, winning Bundesliga once again, delivering when it mattered almost every time it mattered, and let's not forget, putting up insane numbers on top of it all, calling it one of the biggest robberies in the history of an award with a rich history of robberies might still be a bit of an understatement. Number 4, Cristiano Ronaldo 2015. Now, wanna know how amazing this Ronnie season was? This season, in fact, isn't overlooked despite going up against Messi's greatest season ever. Cause yes, despite Leo clearly being superior that year, and despite Ronnie himself playing in a side that was mainly unbalanced due to some unnecessary big name signings in the summer, Galacticos era in a nutshell people, there is still no looking past the crazy stats CR7 was able to rack up in 14-15. As I've said before, this was the most prolific season in the career of one of the most prolific footballers in the history of the game, and even if it's for that reason alone, Ronaldo's positioning on this list certainly can't be questioned. Number 3, Virgil van Dijk 2019. Although he only finishes as the third greatest Ballon d'Or runner-up here, Virgil van Dijk in his very first full season at Merseyside played the biggest part in transforming Liverpool from an inconsistent top half team to genuine title contenders who may have been the greatest Premier League runners-up ever. And when you throw in the fact that he also led a not so great Dutch side to a Nations League final, became the most difficult centre-back in the world to beat, and won the Champions League above everything else, it becomes pretty clear that this was possibly as good of a season from a second place defender as we've ever seen. Number 2, Erling Haaland 2023. Yeah, this was just stupid from all angles. From a positive angle, Haaland making the toughest league in the world his personal playground, breaking record after record game after game, and winning a treble while doing so, it was sure stupid. And from a negative angle, the fact that despite all that, he still didn't get his hands on the Ballon d'Or that year, well, that was also stupid. Who are we kidding? That wasn't stupid. It was far beyond that. It was dizzyingly daft, inexplicably insubstantial, unbelievably unjustified. Simply put, if Lewandowski 2021 was a robbery, and it was, Haaland 2023 was a straight up heist. And while it has had some daft calls prior to this, as we've covered, and while it's still fun to debate and discuss even today, this was the year the Ballon d'Or truly lost all its credibility. I'm not mirroring a quote from anyone, I'm merely recounting the truth. And unless you're blinded by a barometer of bias that's both bafflingly baseless yet boldly brazen beyond belief, you too know it's simply the truth. And number 1, Cristiano Ronaldo 2012. He was quick, he was fit, he had the stats, he had the text. Cristiano Ronaldo in 2011-2012 was pretty much the prototype for a modern day footballer. The only problem was, you see, Lionel Messi that season wasn't even a footballer. Lionel Messi that season was a footballing alien. Pure insanity. And that is that. Agree or disagree beats indifference. Once again, don't forget to like and share. Let me know in the comments what you think of my list, as well as who you really think deserves the Ballon d'Or this year. And of course, subscribe. Till next time, you keep rolling.